Buck, you and I both live in the Charlotte area.
Yeah.
The Carolina Panthers. They release Cam Newton, who's been the face of the franchise for a decade, former Super Bowl participant, league MVP. They give Teddy Bridgewater $60 million to come in here and be the new quarterback. I think this is a very, very interesting. I think they're going to go defense with this pick. But I think the interesting piece is this pick could tell us what Matt Rule wants to do defensively in terms of 4-3 or 3-4. Because I think if they go with a defensive lineman up front, particularly an interior guy like a Brown or Kinlaw, I think that tells us they want to go back to more of a 4-3 style and have two really good tackles inside, two good inside players with K'Wan Short coming off an injury. But then on the flip side, I think if a guy like Isaiah Simmons is the name that comes off the board, I think we may see some more 3-4 out of this defense. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I'm interested because I think they're going to go interior. They need a 3 technique. Even if they stay at a 3-4 or they morph back into the 4-3, they're going to be a multiple defense. Mm-hmm. Phil Snow, who's their defensive coordinator, even though he's been in college a long time, I think they'll have an adaptable defense. They'll have to. But when you have a guy like Derek Brown, he's a pick that you say we got to go after. The only difference is, do you want an athlete in Isaiah Simmons? Because Shaq Thompson was very similar. Shaq was a very versatile linebacker coming out of the University of Washington. He's turned into a really nice player at the linebacker position. Brian Burns is still a edge guy to use him in this defense that they had last year. He did a really nice job learning how to play the position. But I think if you draft an Isaiah Simmons, you've got another versatile, athletic, lengthy guy who's maybe not physical at the attack, so you put him on the backside. You let him learn how to play the position of linebacker completely as opposed to moving him all around, but he has some versatility. So I think those two guys, Isaiah Simmons and Derek Brown, and maybe Kinlaw, that's out of third, would be the way I could see the Panthers going. Great pickup to me with Robbie Anderson because he has an understanding of this offense and he's worked with Teddy Bridgewater and he can run. He is a guy that can burn, and he's going to add more dimensions to this offense.
Yeah, AK, to that point, defensively again, let me throw this out there at you. Let's just say the pick is Isaiah Simmons, right? Now all of a sudden you've got Whitehead, who came over from the Raiders. I don't care what anybody thinks. If you're the leading tackler on a team in the National Football League, you're probably a pretty good football player.
Yeah.
So you add Whitehead with Shaq Thompson. All of a sudden, let's say you go get Isaiah Simmons and you still have Brian Burns. If you want to play a 3-4, you can play some games on the edges with Brian Burns as well. How difficult would it be to deal with that kind of defense, to your point, Buck? But asking you, AK, the multiplicity of that defense.
I think it'd be very difficult, and I mean they got to rush the passer. I mean, you just got Brady in the division, you got Breeze. I mean Matt Ryan's. Yeah. I mean they got to get pressure on the quarterback, but whichever guy this is, the way Matt Rule is, it's going to be a high character football player.
Yep,
is why I personally feel like with the money they invested in Shaq, I really feel like it's going to be Derek Brown at this point. I think it's really going to be Derek Brown. And, I mean, they brought Stephen Weatherly over from Minnesota. And like you guys said, I think this is going to be more of a 4-3 type of look. And in this day and age, I mean, everything's really sub-down situations anyway. So, yeah, I think Burns on the field more. Weatherly can place that strong side and then bump inside if need be. But, I mean, Derek Brown's a game changer. And how long is K'Wan Short really going to be there?
I agree.
Are we thinking like 3 years, or are we thinking more like year-to-year basis with Short?
I think he's closer to year-to-year. Remember, he's already had his second contract. He's in his second contract. So I think that's going to be an interesting piece. And I also think, to your point, you can do some different things with Burns as well. And they got to get after the quarterback. And right now, for me, people have asked me what I think of Derek Brown, and I describe him in one word: disruption. Period. That is what he does consistently along that defensive front is disrupt everything you're trying to do.
Yeah. This Panthers defense, they weren't bad last year at getting after the quarterback.
No.
You know, defensively, they're actually, if you look at their defensive rankings, they were decent, not great. But the one thing they did well was get after the quarterback. And I agree with you, the interior pressure and being able to be solid against the run, I think is going to be really critical for this team moving forward, because you've got some quarterbacks now that can really play, but they're going to have run games, and you're going to have to force them in the third and long. And even if you do that, whether it's Brady, who we know can't move quite like he could in the past, he's still a very efficient quarterback. I think the key for me, though, is, how do you stop the run and really win on first and second down and force these teams in the third and long that you're playing, whether it's New Orleans, Atlanta, or New England. And I think that's, a three technique like that, who is not just a regular three, but can just run like nobody's business. That's going to be key for this Panthers team, I think, if you look at how they're shaped, how it shapes up.
Yeah, I mean, that guy is a walking third and long situation creator if I've seen one in the last 4 or 5 years.